Hi everybody. We're here to talk about something important today. Today is World Mental Health Day, and we wanted to speak about the importance of the topic because there are so many people in our country who are living with mental health conditions, and it affects every walk of their life, whether it's their general health, their family's health, their work, their position in their community. And we were looking at some numbers, kind of updating ourselves as far as the numbers are concerned, and 1 in 5 individuals living in the US now suffers from some sort of a mental health disease, and the numbers are just incredible. And as neurologists, we see cases of depression on a regular basis and how it affects the brain health and other conditions.
It's the foundation of all the other diseases. It's at the core of everything we do. A lot of times we look at this in isolation. We look at our diseases in isolation. If you're a nephrologist, you look at the kidney. If you're a cardiologist, you look at the heart. Neurologist, the brain. Reality is at the core of all this is the person. And at the core of the person is their moods and emotions. And if their moods and emotions are not stable and is not taken care of, all the rest is moot.
Absolutely.
I mean, forget about treating, forget about compliance to medication, forget about chronic disease. So mental health is not well addressed in the clinics and the hospitals. We're not well trained as general physicians or even specialists. We're not very well trained, and that's important. But more important, that is in the communities and in the households. Awareness, I say the 3 pillars of any healthy home community is awareness, acceptance, and access. Awareness is the fact that we know there is mental health in every family almost.
And for people to be able to detect it, know the signs and symptoms of
Exactly.
mental health issues, because a lot of times it's attributed to something very, very, not important and mundane, but it's essentially something that is more grave and more serious. So people have to know and understand the different symptoms of mental illness.
Yeah, and acceptance is not just acceptance of the disease, but also acceptance of it as a disease process, not so much a judgment or a label or anything like that. It's about the fact that we accept its biochemical nature.
Absolutely.
We know that the biochemical mechanisms and structures of the brain are changed in people who have mental health issues such as depression, anxiety, even schizophrenia and other diseases. All of them. We are chemical beings. Mm-hmm. There is no more question of that. Given that, there is no judgment, there is only acceptance and a process of figuring out what the situation is, what's the cause, and how we can alter it. And then the third part is access. Mm-hmm. Access to information.
Absolutely. Access to information, to resources where people can openly talk about the condition and get help. And there are a lot of them out there. There is, National Suicide Prevention Hotline. There are other national institutions where, free information is available. And even if people want to keep it very confidential, they can actually speak about it.
Yeah. Going back to awareness, with the advent of internet and all this mass media and information, all information is not right information. There is a lot of bad information out there. There are a lot of little fad this and fad that. We've been talking about this for the last several months, whether it's fad diets and fad foods and from gluten this or that. Data is data. If people want to find the right data, they have to go to the right sources. Go to the universities that have actually do research in this. Go to National Institutes of Health, National Institute of Mental Health, and NIMH, and other resources that will give you the correct data, the correct information. Because there's an incredible spectrum of data out there, information. People saying that if you eat certain type of nutrient that you'll be cured from the disease, or if you come to me and if I do some kind of shock therapy, or you'll be cured. It's none of that. It's about getting the correct source of information, and having access to it is important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we want to talk about this often because all communities, all families suffer from this. We want to make sure that we raise awareness, raise acceptance levels, and also make people aware of of where to go to find information, and which is the access component, and where to get help. We will get the numbers at the bottom of this link. We'll put the links to some of the numbers that will give you ability to get information about suicide prevention, depression, and others as well. And have conversations in your household, in your family.
Absolutely. I think that's the first step, acceptance and understanding that this is a disease, just the way diabetes is a disease, and you touched on it. You know, it's a chemical imbalance, and a lot of us, we attribute it to
willpower,
weakness of the willpower, or something that is under our control. No, just the way the pancreas has an abnormality secreting enough insulin, or too much insulin, or less insulin. That's the same way the brain doesn't create or form chemicals that are necessary for us to cope with our lives with different situations. And if we understand that and accept it, that's a great place to start therapy, treatment, and speaking about it.
I think the best thing to do here today, tonight, is everybody around their family just sitting around and having a conversation about this. And you'll be shocked that all of a sudden people will actually start talking about different elements. Now, whenever you bring light to something, there's a danger that it actually might bring behaviors that are not acceptable, or you're not comfortable with. But that's part of this journey. Having the conversations and getting to know each other, and more importantly, getting to know the emotional worlds of the family members.
Absolutely. And also to remember, and there's a question about it, that, you know, a mental illness is not necessarily an adult problem. You know, over 50 to 60% of mental health issues actually start during teenage years, as young as 14 years of age,
or younger even.
Or even younger.
Absolutely.
So it really doesn't have any age limit. So sit around the table, talk about it. Think of some loved ones who have mental health issues, bring them to light, bring them into the conversation, and just open up your hearts and minds to this immense problem that we're facing in a society, because there's a lot that we can all do together. Thank you so much for joining us for this short talk, and we hope to see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.